criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories.
Ladies and gentlemen, the date is June 16th, and there was an incident that happened today, and I'm going to present evidence that show the malicious intent of a certain perpetrator in the neighborhood. First item of evidence, I'm going to call this Exhibit 1, or Exhibit A. Let's go with Exhibit A. So this is a map of the neighborhood. You can see it's a nicer, kind of new neighborhood, a little swanky. The incident took place in this area, which is Highway 12, which is also Main Street in Tropic, and that's where this incident took place. To back up just a little bit, you need to understand what happened, what occurred. I was actually just getting out of the shower this morning. I received a text message asking me about the goat milk, and I was a little taken back at what is going on here. So the perpetrator asked me if I had some goat's milk. Of course, I was quite curious why you'd want some goat's milk. Well, the perpetrator at that time sent me a picture of this little guy, and as you look at this little guy, you can almost hear the Sarah McLachlan song, the Arms of the Angels, playing in the background, and you think, what's going on here? What's going on? So anyway, it's taking a little bit to piece together the evidence. So I think to fully understand the story, we need to go back in time, and we need to look at where the perpetrator of this crime is from. You can see right here, this is another overhead map. If you look at that map, you can see this is a map of Moscow, Idaho, where the defendant claims to be from. So we did some checking into the story that the perpetrator was from Moscow, Idaho. We couldn't find any records of him living in Moscow, Idaho. So what we did discover is that the perpetrator is actually from Moscow, Russia, former Soviet Union, and it's okay. The commies are people too, but anyway, so we found that out just by a quick Google search. Figured out that he was not from Moscow, Idaho. He was from Moscow, Russia. In order to understand the motivation for why he would capture this little guy, we did some checking into that. Quick perusal of his Facebook profile. We found this particular picture here. So the picture in question of the perpetrator seems to indicate that the perpetrator may enjoy eating wild exotic game more than he lets on. This is the next item in the evidence trail is this current photo. I don't know if anybody watched the news recently, but Looney Tunes released some updated cartoons, and you can see Elmer Fudd there, who always had the historic musket rifle. A lot of people thought it was a shotgun, musket, whatever it was. You can see he's no longer has the rifle. A lot of people think that's because of political correctness. I think it's because his rifle was stolen by the said perpetrator, and is now using it to hunt tasty animals in our neighborhood. This next one needs a little explanation. This is a picture of the Ruby's Inn lobby. We hacked into the perpetrator's phone and found this picture, and seemed benign enough. It's just kind of an old picture of the lobby there, and you can see those heads up there with their mounted deer up there in the lobby. And you can see this right here was the next picture on his phone. It appears to be a bronze plaque with just letter CFD on it, and kind of put two and two together, and it appears the evidence would point to the fact that this whoever these initials are, the CFD, was trying to aspire to maybe put a trophy on the wall up there. And if you look back here at this previous photo, you can look right up there, and you can see that there's those plaques right there on the the wall there. So I think the evidence points to the fact that 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 the perpetrator who did this crime did so with malice in order to possibly grow a trophy buck that he could put in the Ruby's Inn lobby to rival his Uncle Rod. I think the evidence speaks for itself. Ladies and gentlemen, there was one item that we failed to discuss, and that was the alibi that the perpetrator attempted to establish. Was that the deer had become orphaned, although there is no body of the mother or any other evidence to that effect that the deer was orphaned. This was quickly, exposed by the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources. Now remember the time frame of the crime happened approximately 7:45 this morning. There was a phone call when the perpetrator attempted to call and establish an alibi to the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources, and that triggered statewide alert. They actually took it serious enough that they issued this statewide alert. Again, the timeline there, you can see this was at noon today. You can see right there, keep wildlife wild. Well, meaning people continue to pull fawns from the wild, thinking they need to be bottle fed and rescued, when in actuality its mother is likely nearby. Deer will leave fawns for hours to draw attention away from them. So again, the perpetrator triggered a statewide alert in addition to his other crimes. I see this as being kind of like a false 911 call or something like that, but I think the web of lies have become too deep that the perpetrator doesn't even think of things like that. So anyway, the crime triggered a statewide tweet. So just more evidence.